Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch One, and thanks for logging on. Today, we're looking at the Roger Dubuis Golden Square Perpetual Calendar moon phase. 40 millimeters in width in 18 karat white gold. This Roger Dubuis can be purchased on our website, watchyouwant.com, and if you like these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. Now you can see on my wrist 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference. This Roger Dubuis splits the difference between the traditional elements of the early Roger Dubuis models and the more outlandish, oversized, character-rich designs that defined the modern personality of Roger Dubuis in the 21st century. Now, the key to the fit of this watch is the cambered case. You can see, although it is 52 millimeters lug to lug, so it's got quite a bit of span, it is the camber curvature of the case, and you'll note it's matched by the crystal itself, that allows the watch, although big, to get a nice arc around and over the curve of a smaller wrist like mine. Now, you can also see that the lugs are short and steeply raked, so that they do begin to curve and contour to the wrist before the physical substance of the watch even ends. And it continues in this minimally bolstered Roger Dubuis leather strap. Now you'll note it is perforated almost in the form of vintage automotive upholstery or fine driving gloves, so it's a nice touch by a watch manufacturer that always puts special attention to the design of its straps, and the corresponding attention to detail is evident in a fine deployant clasp featuring a very secure twin trigger actuation. Roger Dubuis does a good job of hiding the twin triggers underneath the RD logo motif, and every aspect of this clasp speaks to the quality, the attention to detail that you get in a watch of this stature. Now, it's a Geneva seal movement, but that standard of quality control and artisanal detail is evident in every aspect of the watch, and the clasp just speaks to that. You can see that even within this logo buckle, there is not a single raw, machined, stamped, or unfinished surface. Even on the flanks of the swing arms, even within the clasp, it looks like a fully finished artisanal product, a work of art in its own right, and that's just the clasp. Now, moving closer to the heart of the watch, you can see this bold case features a double finish, very difficult to achieve, vertically grained on its flanks and on the flanks of the lugs themselves, all polished on the hoods of the lugs as well as the bezel. It leads into the centerpiece of the design. Now you can see a little bit of a nod to Cartier perhaps in Roger Dubuis' highly stylized, exaggerated, almost rayon splayed Roman numeral characters on the hour track, leading into an inner railroad style dial that sort of flanks the centerpiece of the movement and the timepiece itself, which is the Perpetual Calendar. Now, I'm going to start with the moon phase because to me that's the most extraordinary part of this display. Easy to miss at first glance, it rewards repeat viewing. That moon phase disc is in fact lapis lazuli, a semi-precious stone with inset golden flake elements that just explode in the light. Now, it's the kind of technique an artisan, even one practicing a studied Pellione hand, cannot exactly reproduce. So it's a beautiful thing to see, and it's a real treat. Considering it's just one detail of this Roger Dubuis, that speaks to the amount of content that you're getting here. But it is the Perpetual Calendar that defines the watch as a whole. Now, you can see the day, you can see the month, you can see the radial date right here, but you can also see the danger zone indicator. Now you'll know that the hour, having just swept past 2 a.m., is within the danger zone. That's what the red dot means. It means at this point, you don't want to set the watch for fear of breaking the movement. That is what you get from the danger zone indicator. It effectively works as an AM/PM indicator in some cases, but its primary purpose is to keep you safe from yourself when operating the watch. It's just another nice detail and a colorful flourish provided by Roger Dubuis. But it is the movement, and I'm going to remove our little seal for your protection on the back here, that is the centerpiece of this watch. Now, automatic winding, this is what's known as the Roger Dubuis RD 5739 caliber, based on the ultra-thin Lemania/Breguet 8815 automatic winding caliber. It's found its way into haut-de-gamme watches from every manufacturer, from the likes of Breguet to Vianney Halter to Ulysse Nardin, and of course Roger Dubuis. And the reason is it is an ultra-thin, ultra-fine, and robust timekeeper that also has the torque with twin mainspring barrels in series to drive complications. The distinction here is that it's finished to the distinctive Geneva traditions that Roger Dubuis practices and which define his mechanical finishing ethic. You can see the Geneva stripes linear on the winding rotor with a unique golden, almost filigree style Roger Dubuis initial logo inset. skeletonized so you can see parts of the movement through. It's a nice stylized element to open your enjoyment of this spectacle, and what a spectacle it is. You can see the Côte de Genève continued on the bridges of the movement, linear once again, flanked by a circumferential ring of main plate perlage, very tight, very even engine turning. Again, this isn't a simple engine turning technique. This is done artisanally with pegwood and emery paste, over and over and over, to create a pleasing effect and remove all of the birth scars, the machining marks of the mechanical components. Now you'll also note there is a brilliant anglage applied to all elements of this Geneva seal movement. You can see the partridge eye polishing of the jewel and the screw countersinks. And likewise, right on that bridge at the tip of my thumb, you can see the beautiful mirrored polish of the radius of the edge, the chamfer. Under a loop, 5, 10, 20 power, that holds up as mirror finish. You will ultimately see your own reflection and your examination instrument if you focus in close enough on the decoration of this movement. But I really feel that the highlight is the balance assembly itself. Now I've let the watch run down so you can get a sense of what the entire works looks like. You can see the hairspring, you can see the balance wheel, you can see its proportions in relation to the movement, actually quite large, with a large inertia for superior isochronism and precision over the long term, and resistance to shock and displacement. But what it also boasts to resist timing, shall we say variation due to shock and displacement, is a Swans neck regulator. So essentially the fine regulating index held in place by a screw and counterbraced by a spring. The distinction here is that not only is that functional element included for precision and stability, but it's also black polished. Now the technique known as poly noir, or black polish, optically polishes the metal surface so smooth that it only reflects light in a single direction, and from any other angle it's going to appear dark gray or black, hence the poly noir black polish terminology. And every element of this movement does reflect the standards of the Geneva seal. It is the highest third-party seal of approval for the finish of a movement, and it's universal in Roger Dubuis movements. You can see the Geneva seal just above my thumb. You can see just above the thumbnail, above the balance wheel. That is the Poinçon de Genève, as they call it, or the stamp of Geneva. Now the basic movement is a masterpiece itself, handed down from its original designer Longines to Lamagna to Breguet, and now rarely seen outside of Breguet's lineup. It is maintained as something of an exclusive in-house movement for Breguet today. However, before it went exclusive, Roger Dubuis managed to procure and beautifully finish a certain number in his early Observatory Chronometer watches, including this Golden Square Perpetual. And I want to end on that note. Not only is this a Geneva seal movement, it is an Observatory Chronometer. As part of his homage to the tradition of watchmaking, Roger Dubuis sought the 45-day Observatory Chronometer timing test from the French Besançon Observatory for his early flagship models, which means this is not a COSC chronometer subjected to roughly 2 weeks of testing, but a watch subjected to the far more rigorous standards of the observatory. Hence the term, written on the dial right below my thumb, Bulletin d'Observatoire. Very exclusive, and a charming piece of the accessory set of this watch. It does name the regulator of the watch, the physical regulator of the movement for the observatory test, as Mr. Roger Dubuis himself, so you really are receiving an artisanal product from the hand of the master when you buy this Roger Dubuis Golden Square in 18-karat white gold, Perpetual Calendar and Moon Phase, available on our website, watchyouwant.com.